Our next speaker is Simon McDougall from Saab Australia. So Simon's going to be focusing on the market for mixed reality and how Saab is using technologies around VR and mixed realities in the work that they do and the potential for that technology in the defence sector. Simon is the mixed reality program lead at Saab Australia, has been working with mixed reality since the HoloLens was first introduced. So when was that, Simon? Probably 2015. And his team has managed to deliver multiple projects to a range of customers, including defence, health and the resources sector. Welcome, Simon.
Excellent, thank you. Excellent. So this image here is an artist's impression of what we then delivered for Air Force, so showing you how we can change their reality from moving from flat screen displays into holographic worlds. So a number of you outside managed to get a play with our technology, look at the mining variant of this product. But yeah, so multiple users understanding their environment a lot better and interacting with it differently is how we can use mixed reality. So following on from what is mixed reality, this is a picture that Microsoft used for their definition of mixed reality. So it's where the humans, the computers and the environment all come together to interact. So you can see some pictures on the right of that sort of scenario happening. Why use mixed reality? This is a question we ask people that talk to us about their ideas and their concepts a lot. Mixed reality is not the panacea. Don't use a HoloLens for everything. If you want to write a Word document on it, you're going to get very disappointed very quickly. Use your flat screen. It's a lot better for that sort of technology. So there's the 6 main use cases. We've delved into most of them now, developing different products for different markets using all this technology. So we understand it quite well. So you can see the picture at the top. The man's in his kitchen looking at what's the weather for his holiday, what's his recipe, but most likely he's just focused on the football, watching sport. The bottom picture shows you a training environment where instead of just using the manual, you now get a 3D representation of an object. You can understand how it fits, where the different bits and pieces are in a holographic object without needing the real one. So who is Saab Australia? We don't make cars, even though the logo looks exactly the same as the car logo. We used to. We make fighter planes, submarines and everything in between. So we're in Australia for about 30 years. We've got a Swedish parent company. We're out at Mawson Lakes, just to the north of here. We've got about 420 staff at the moment now. We're expanding with a lot of the defence work that's coming out. About 15,000 globally, so we're quite a big company. In the defence world, we're not massive, but we're still quite big. As well as defence, we do a lot of civil security work. So some of the prisons around Australia, other countries of the world are secured with our technology. If you're a fan of Prison Break from back in the day, no, we don't know how to break out of our own prisons. But mostly for me, we're a mixed reality partner with Microsoft and we work across all domains for mixed reality, so defence, health and others that we'll talk about tonight. So here's some images of some of our applications that we've built up. So starting on the left, the man with the super cool moustache in the middle of that picture there, he's Chief of the Air Force. That's a demonstration that we gave when we were delivering a product to them. Going down, there's a holographic 3D presence, so thank you Obi-Wan Kenobi for inspiring us with that. There's a holographic trainer. Back to the picture of the metal detector or the mine lab instrument before. You can see a hologram of how you actually use the device as well. Depending if you're from South Australia, you'll say Lego. If you're from anywhere else in the world, you say Lego. For a model-based assembly, putting the pieces together, so you can throw away your Lego manual and now see a holographic manual. This is where you put the piece in. This is how you need to hold the Lego as well as you're building it. 3D model of the City of Adelaide before this building was built. So I'm now standing in the air according to the data we've got. Another picture from the back of a C-17. So this is a transport aircraft for the Air Force using our system there for an air show. So following our work for the defence sector, which is our first main product that we launched, we've moved into the resources and other geospatial information. So In-Depth, our tool, which was the main one we were playing with out in the foyer there, lets people visualise their mine site or other resources, information, bringing in their data themselves, make us obsolete, and they can then visualise it, work collaboratively around this data and better understand it. So this comes back to one of the 6 uses earlier on. This is understanding your data, representing true 3D data in true 3D for the first time instead of trying to interpret a flat screen. We've been told by some of our customers 90 to 95% of people can't look at the flat screen and work out what the 3D world representation actually is in true life. So that adds a lot of value understanding to customers as well. It's also the picture in the bottom right-hand side. There's some CAD data we've managed to drag in as well. So you can do all sorts of different data sets in the same tool. Another picture of different sources and visualisations of mine data. So this is a big tunnel complex that's been dug out in WA, showing how the tunnel complex is going to evolve over time, where the strata layers are, where the gold is, and other sorts of information, so the miners can really understand what they're digging up, why they're digging it up in a certain manner as well. So we support a lot of different data formats that you can see there to really let customers visualise it how they want to visualise it, not how we tell them to visualise it. This all comes together as a nice geospatial capability for across a range of sectors and industries. So there's defence, obviously, resources that we've talked about. There's a nice 3D hologram of the City of Adelaide again, back in the small scale. And that's the big picture at the top is Jim there looking at our immersive view where the map is blown up to a lot bigger size. You can literally put yourself on the landscape, walk the landscape and really understand what's going on. Some of the other work that we've done, we do a lot of work with the UniSA, with Ross and other people out there at Mawson Lakes doing student projects. So we're into our 5th project at the moment. We've done everything from tracking real world objects, which is that drone there with the quadcopter. You can pick it up, move it around, and the instructions float in space in the right spot to show you what is the next step of maintenance to do. The Lego stuff, model-based assembly, some room layout, technology as well. Done a fair bit of work in the health sector as well. This lets people work hands-free and hygienically. So instead of needing access to touch your iPad or somehow work with your notes and stuff, you can use your hands to do what they need to do and see the information holographically without needing to touch it and just do the air click, which Keith would have walked a lot of you through earlier on. Doing some work in education as well, a more immersive learning environment to keep the students engaged, keep them really occupied, make their minds think about the data in a different way, taking learning out of the textbook, out of the computer screen into nice 3D holograms for people. Do a bit of marketing. That app was running outside as well. Here you can see we've driven a piece of equipment with an Xbox controller. You can see it holographically flying through the air and you control it, so it's a more immersive experience for people. We do a lot of data integration as well. That's kind of the core capability of Saab in Australia. What next? So we keep working away. The hardware is going to evolve over time. People talk about the field of view a lot, different limitations of the hardware. That's version 1 of the hardware. Version 2 is coming soon. The market says late this year, early next year. I quite often talk to people about if I gave you an iPhone 1, you'd probably throw it at me or just walk away at least. This one is the version 1. Give it a couple of years, or the next release as well, it's going to get better and better. It is still an incredibly powerful device today, though. It is still market leading and still can transform and revolutionise businesses as they see their products today. So if you've got any questions, reach out after this. I'll probably be hanging around for a few more minutes, but that's it for me. So this is how we've changed the mining industry as well. So you saw the picture at the start of our defence capability. This is a equivalent for the mining industry, how they can start to see data under the ground. Cheers.
The potential for modelling and simulating different scenarios in that just seems very, very powerful and not something we previously had access to. You know, you kind of run a simulation traditionally, or at least when I was doing my PhD some time ago, you know, it's hard to kind of see or play, and the potential just to be able to have that all in front of you and move around with that and try different alternatives, I think is really exciting, as is the hands-free option for that. I just keep thinking of, you know, my girls trying to bake cookies with the iPad sort of stuck in the middle of the dough and the, you know, and just being able to stick something on and be hands-free as a very consumer app. But when you talk about the need for healthcare and you understand, you know, some of those infection control or some of those other aspects or the need to be able to relate to someone, I think there's enormous potential. As you said, this is round 1 of the technology. And so understanding this very early is, I think, an exciting insight into where things might go once that all becomes a bit smoother and a bit more accessible.